Vance Levy here with Bulldog Illustrated, and what a treat it is to introduce Mad Dawg's latest interview with Louis Cine. Number 16 certainly left his mark during his 3 years in Athens. In my opinion, when you combine his ball hawking skills and bruising hits, he's right there with all the other UGA greats like Scott Warner, Jake Scott, Terry Ho, Kirby Smart, and Thomas Davis. However, it's Louis's cerebral mind and focus towards being elite for his mother and his daughter is going to be what propels him in the NFL. What an honor it was to cover him at Bulldog Illustrated. Speaking of which, I encourage you to order your commemorative issue of BI by going to BulldogIllustrated.com. Now it's time for the show, the Mad Dawg and Louis Cine.
We are at Callie and Tito's in Athens, Georgia with Louis Cine, number 16 from the National Championship Bulldogs. Louis, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it. I guess I'll skip straight to, a question that I think a lot of people want to know is, how did you feel on the pick six when you saw what was going down? I know I watched the play. You had gone deep with one of the receivers. And so you're kind of standing back watching it all go down. What's going through your mind?
At first, what's going on in my mind? I seen Keely intercept the ball. It's like, okay, is Keely going to walk out of bounds? Because one way, if he goes out of bounds, we're going to just run the clock off and still win. But he's running with it. And not only that, but there's a convoy of our guys there, leading the way. And, I'm there and jumping, go, Keely, at this point. Forget going out of bounds. Keely, go. And once he gets to the end zone, I just run a Kirby Smart celebrating with him.
Yeah. So, it immediately clicks and it's over.
Oh, yes. At this point, it's like, all right, guys, I just play everything safe, stay deep, keep everything in front of us.
Yeah, and I was there, and it was surreal. Because I was in the end zone and, the action end zone in the fourth quarter, I had AD came to me, Bowers came to me, and then Ringo ran right at me. And it was like, it was surreal. You're sitting there going, is this really happening? Mm-hmm. And so then from there, obviously, the game ends. You're the MVP, defensive MVP. How did that feel? What's going through your mind?
At first, I didn't even think I was a defensive MVP.
Right.
I was just playing ball, just to play ball so we can get this W,
Right.
It's the last game of the season, put everything to it that I had. And when I run on the stage, he talked to Kirby Smart, he talked to Stetson.
Right.
And then, I'm walking around, he comes with me and gives me the mic. I'm looking in my head, I'm like, me? He's like, oh yeah, you're the defensive player of the game, this and that. And I was like, oh, okay. Now at this point, I'm thinking, all right, what do I say?
Right.
So thinking about, giving the team credit, give offense credit or defense credit,
Well, you've done plenty of interviews in your day, and I know a lot of times, you're prepared for them. In that case, for just kind of being surprised by it, you did a great job.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, and I should probably back up and should thank your personal coach, Carlos Ruiz, for setting this whole thing up. And tell us about Carlos and how you guys met. And he's from Texas. I guess you met him when you moved there.
Oh no, I met Carlos way in Boston.
Oh, okay.
I used to play high school in Boston. He was our defensive coordinator there. And, Carlos is like older brother to me, family member.
Okay.
We're family without being blood.
Right.
So, he's always been my right-hand guy.
Yeah. He seems like a great guy. I've talked to him a couple times on the phone, and he was explaining to me just how crazy busy you've been, getting ready for the combine, and now as you prepare for the draft and you have all these teams, looking for you, wanting to talk to you further, do you like our city? And he said that Bill Belichick wanted to talk to you and you had a hard time squeezing him in, which to me is astounding.
That was real interesting because it's like as soon as combine was done, guys just started scheduling stuff. It's like, okay, the guys that called first were the guys that we scheduled. So Coach Belichick was trying to schedule a date, but it was already booked. I can't really just move it out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you're saying that you didn't have enough time for Bill Belichick, but you did have enough time for me.
I mean, in a way, it's, you know, you got to make certain things fit in your schedule in a way.
Right.
You know, not being everywhere at once.
So I'm sure your life has just been so structured up until this point, and now you're kind of in this in-between period where, you know, the combine's happened, you're getting ready for the draft, you're here in Athens. That's got to be kind of at least a nice little break before everything ramps back up again.
Yeah, it's a real nice little break, but how do I explain it? I feel like I've rested enough.
Yeah.
In a way, it's like I'm kind of ready to start ball, where, you know, all the combine stuff, all the pro day stuff, it's cool. It's been nice, but I want to be done with that.
Yeah. I'm sure you're ready to kind of know where you're going to land, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about the number 16. Obviously, there's a story there, but a lot of people may not know it. So how did you end up deciding to have that number?
Well, 16 is dedicated really to my mom.
Right.
My mom, you know, is my rock, and she had me at the age of 16.
Right.
And her being 16, a lot of younger moms, you know, would have gone other route not to have a child.
Right.
Definitely her being a Haitian, having a kid there when she wasn't working, she was in school. So the fact that, you know, she went through with everything, you know, I have the most respect for her.
Absolutely. And I read something about that story and about, you know, when you guys have the skull sessions, and you kind of get into everybody's why. And I know you had said, you know, she was your why, and also your daughter was your why. Take us through those skull sessions and kind of how they work. It seems like that was something kind of new maybe this year or maybe in the last couple years.
No, skull sessions was definitely new. But give credit to Cochran, Coach Cochran.
Okay.
And, you know, he's the one that really made skull sessions happen, you know, and it made a big difference in us learning about each other, which once we knew about each other's whys, about why we're doing stuff, the X's and O's was simple, easy, because now, you know, we had a little more to give for each other.
Right. You kind of get inside each other's heads and understand what the motivation is.
Yes, sir.
And obviously with you, it's Beatrice, your mom, and Bella, your daughter. And so I think I read somewhere, your mom hasn't seen you.
She's never seen me play football.
She's never seen you play football. And is that going to change here maybe in the coming year? Or
I hope it changes in the coming year. I'm just waiting on, you know, I did everything in terms of her immigration paper. I'm just waiting on the government right now to give me the okay.
I can't even imagine the kind of red tape you have to go through for something like that.
Yeah, you know, not only am I playing the waiting game for the draft, I'm also playing the waiting game for, you know, until I get the okay.
So your mom hasn't seen you play, but Bella has.
She has, but it's a little different.
Right.
You know, she's about to be 5. I don't think at that age they really understand what's going on.
She just think Dad plays a game and he's good at it.
He's just flying around, this and this. He's having fun. I'm having fun.
Right.
Day,
so did she come and watch you play in Sanford Stadium or somewhere else?
Yeah, she has. It was a home game. She's seen me play here twice.
Was the first time this year?
First time was my freshman year. Second time was a little more this year.
So you're born in Haiti, and around 4 years old, you moved to Florida.
Yeah.
And then I think around middle school is when you moved to Boston with your dad. Is that right?
Yeah, that's when I moved to Boston with my dad, and that's where I grew up after that.
And so that's where you first played football. Tell us about that.
I first tried in recess.
In recess?
Yeah, it was recess. We're throwing footballs around. And Jake Wilcox was, you know, the quarterback. He did Pope Warner. I didn't really know anything about football.
Right.
He introduced me to football.
Right.
His dad was the head coach. And once I started doing it, you know, I got a knack of, you know, just having fun with it, running around, making plays.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess at that point, were you more of an offensive player, defensive player, or both?
I was mostly a defensive player, and as I got comfortable with it, they tried me in offense, also
Right.
in special teams.
You had a very interesting high school career, starting out in Boston. I believe was it Everett High School?
Yes, sir.
And you had a pretty famous coach. Is it Coach DiBiase? Did I say that right?
Yeah, DiBiase.
So you won a state championship with him.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up going to another school.
Mm-hmm.
Then you, it seems like, tell me if I'm wrong, kind of took your cue of, hey, maybe it's time for me to do something different. Or was that kind of the catalyst to go to Texas?
What it really influenced me leaving was really Coach Carlos not becoming the head coach there.
Right.
I want to put that out the way first.
Right.
It had nothing to do with DiBiase leaving.
Okay.
But once Coach Carlos I found out he was, not going to be the head coach there. That's when I figured I'd make my moves.
You went from one storied program at Everett to another at Trinity Christian, and won another state championship there. And then I believe, if I did my homework right, one of the coordinators was Deion Sanders.
Yeah, Deion Sanders definitely one of the.
So what was that like?
It was once in a lifetime experience. Really, it's not every day you have someone like Deion coach you.
Yeah.
And Deion's an amazing person, man. I learned a whole lot from him about a lot of things, life, football, tips and pointers about everything. Where
Right.
now I'm grateful that I did make that trip.
Do you guys still keep in touch?
He's more busy with his schedule, so we
Right.
don't really keep in touch that much.
Right. So 2 state championships in a row, 2 completely different places. You are ascending to one of the top, if not the top safeties in the country. Everybody's recruiting you. Why did you choose the University of Georgia?
I knew the University of Georgia was going to do something special. I had any school, I could have gone to any school in the
Right.
country. I had other offers to do so. But at the end of the day, I wanted the opportunity to win games big, learn under someone that's put a whole lot of players in my position in terms of DB in the league.
Right.
And also get the chance, pursue my dreams of going to the NFL.
Right. So at that time, I guess it was primarily Mel Tucker. Was he the main recruiter for you, or was it someone else? Or
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Gotcha. So it really, a lot of people come to Athens and they're just entranced by the town. It sounds like that didn't play into it at all.
No, it isn't. It's nice to know. I knew what I was coming here for. It's not really for the glamour and the fun of it. It's all nice and all, but
Right.
every school has a nice town, has a nice
Right.
environment about it. And what separates that is like, all right, I'm coming here to play football for X amount of time, and then going to pursue going to the league. And, that's where my head was. I was always tunnel vision.
I mean, and that's really just the difference between the student athlete and just the regular student. Somebody like me who comes up here and falls in love with Athens, for you, it's a business trip.
Yeah.
You're coming up here and you're making a business decision. These are the coaches that are going to help me get to the league. And so you get here, you immediately stand out. You play, am I correct that you played every game you were here? Or were you injured?
No. I never injured. I never redshirted. I never did any of that.
Yeah.
Beginning of my freshman year, I was doing a whole lot of special teams.
Yeah.
And then the end of the season was when I really started.
Yeah, you stuck out in a good way. I mean, you jumped off the screen with your ferocious tackling, and I know you get tired of talking about this, but I have to ask you again. We got to talk about, you know what I'm going to say?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Kyle Pitts hit. So I'm watching that, and you're watching it in real time, and it's like it was a car crash, and you came in like a blur. I couldn't even tell it was you. You hit him, and for the record, it was not targeting, because in my mind, Kyle Pitts lowered his head, probably in an effort to not be decapitated. But when you hit him, you got knocked out, right?
I wasn't knocked out. I went to the ground. The whole time I was on the ground, I was contemplating. I was like, yo, I've made hits like this so many times. Why the hell did this one hurt a little more? Why did this one hurt a little more? So I'm on the ground like, man, should I get up, or should I just stay on the ground and wait for help to come get me?
Right.
And then a little thought in my head it's like, dude, this is being televised. So I'm like, nah, I can't go out like that. Let me get up. And that's when I basically picked myself up.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because people kept coming up and like trying to like you know, and you're like, get off of me, I'm fine, you know. So yeah, I stand by the fact that was not a targeting. But we'll go down in Georgia lore and maybe college lore. It's one of the most brutal tackles that anybody has ever seen, and you really put, you know, everyone on notice, all the receivers on notice, that if they're coming out there to catch the ball, they better have their head on a swivel and be looking for number 16, because he's going to be bringing the heat and the thunder. And you know, from there it was like, you were already on my radar, but you know, I'm one of those people, I can't get enough, and I'm studying the roster and looking at your backstory. But after that, everybody was talking about number 16, and they had their eyes on you. And you know, what was just as important as the big hits is, you know, there's so much of you've obviously got all the physical skills, but so much of football is mental. And so you would always put yourself in the position to make the play. And I was wondering if you could kind of walk us through maybe the process of your mental preparation and what goes into that, you know, the amount of probably just as much time breaking down film and studying as you do on the practice field.
At a certain point for me, it stopped being physical, because I knew I had the height, I had the size, I had the speed, and I had everything. But I needed the game to slow down way more. So I completely, you know, poured myself into film study, into, you know, being a student of the game, and that made a big difference. So, and you know, when I was alone, I was watching film. But also after practices, I'd be the last one to leave the facility. I was leaving the facility near like midnight. Midnight. So it's like watching film, writing notes down, breaking, you know, what I do and what opponents do to help myself, really.
And it's funny you say that, because I'm going to get to a quote from Kirby where he says a lot of those same things. And he even said, you know, 10:30 at night, I'm leaving, and Lewis is walking, you know, in through the outdoor to go back in there and break down more film, because he called you a gym rat. And he said, and this is an amazing compliment, I'm trying to find it. Here it is. Lewis is a special talent. He has extremely good speed. He has extremely good toughness. He has good ball skills, good size, and he's tough. But then he also said, physical skills are fantastic, but what stands out for me the most part is he's a student of the game, which goes right back to what you said about the mental aspect and how that's what caused everything to slow down for you. How does it feel to have someone who's arguably the best coach in college football say those things about you?
It's not every day you get compliments from Kirby Smart, I'll tell you that. But, you know, it's real kind words of him, and I know, like, it holds weight. He's a guy that, you know, saw a whole lot of potential in me. He was hard on me, really, but it's because, you know, I could, you know, be something way better than what I came in as a freshman.
A consistent theme for you in your interviews is you always talk about playing fast. That's your philosophy, is playing fast. When did that, who instilled that in you? Is that just something that you latched onto, or something that you were coached up on?
No, it's really something I latched onto, really. So one thing you learn about playing in the code will teach you something. When you're coming for a tackle and you're real hesitant, you're gonna feel the hit. Not only because someone's coming faster, it's because also it's cold. So somehow, some way, any little touch or hit, you're gonna feel it.
Right.
But when you come out of full speed, you don't feel it. The other person does. So that's where I kind of learn. Whatever tackle, whatever I'm doing, go full.
So I'm going to go to something a little more lighthearted that people wanted me to ask you about, and that's your hair. I was fully expecting a lot of your interviews that it'd be all the way down and I wouldn't be able to see your eyes. So what made you make the conversion? And I will say this, this has been my week so far. FCA event in Macon where Jordan Davis spoke. Jordan is now trying to style his hair like you. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I don't want to take the credit for it. I feel like everyone wants to do something different with their hair. Everyone's something, but I like that he's going the dread route.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was kind of one of those things like where you're trying to distract whoever's talking to you.
Oh no. The hair in my face is still my look,
Right.
but for the time being, I got to keep it real professional.
Right.
I had Coach Smart come say something about it, Coach Muschamp come say something about it, and those guys, respected guys in the football world. So they think that, okay, Lou, put your hair up when you're doing certain interviews. People are watching, so I had to do that.
And that's probably why when they were interviewing you as defensive MVP of the national championship, Kirby gave you a little swat.
He tried to make me put my hair up, but yeah.
So, flipping over to school, you're a psychology major.
Yes, sir.
What kind of made you gravitate towards that particular subject?
I feel like in the whole world, whatever career, whatever job you're doing, you gotta know how people work. You gotta know people and able to make things work with people.
Right.
I gotta understand, like, let's use this in football stance. I gotta know how every guy is different so I can get to them. The same way I talk to you, I might not talk to him that way because it doesn't work the same.
Yeah.
So I gotta figure out who's who and how do I get to them and able to get the job done, really.
Well, that's very wise of you because you can make a case that everything in life, a large component of it is psychology and how you interact with people and trying to figure out, like you said, what makes them tick. So you have dream season. Everything goes your way. Everything goes the team's way. We think we're steamrolling our way to an undefeated season, and then the SEC championship game happens. Walk us through kind of how you felt, how the team felt, and how you guys regrouped after that.
It was real disappointing that, we didn't come with a W in that game. But I also knew that we still had a whole lot more to give. And the season, everything that we wanted was still ahead of us.
Right.
And it was just going out and fix the wrongs that we did in that game, going along forward to make sure we got to that point. And I feel like, we took full advantage of that. And, in my opinion, losing woke us up in ways we didn't think it did.
Right.
It humbled us, and it's like, okay, now we knew if we lose again, we're out. There goes our dreams of, Natty and any of that. So move accordingly.
So then you guys went into the game against Michigan with the same confidence. You had no doubts. And that was apparent because you went in there and you absolutely beat the brakes off of Michigan and annihilated them and embarrassed Jim Harbaugh, and it was magically delicious. And so then, it was like they didn't know what hit them. I don't think that they were in any way prepared for our speed alone. And it was just incredible to watch. I mean, it was like, some Georgia games you're nervous. Well, midway through the first quarter, I'm got my feet up and I'm relaxing. And I'm going ahead and calling this a W. And I'm thinking about what's coming next. So let's fast forward to the national championship. And for me as a fan and for a lot of fans, we're watching that game and everything's good. It's close. But there's little things happening that are beyond our control, like the scoop and score by Nakobe Dean, which I can kind of see how a case could be made that it wasn't a fumble, although I could also see a case be made that it was, and that's how it was called on the field. Game goes on. Then we have the Stetson play. And I'm watching that play, and I'm not even sweating, the review, because I'm like, there's no way on earth that they're going to change that from an incomplete pass to a fumble, and then they do. And I got the sickest feeling, like, oh my gosh, the refs are about to steal another game from us, just like when Tyler Simmons was on sides. And I would imagine that's not how you felt. Tell me, or tell me how you felt when you saw, okay, they've recovered it, and then boom, they score. What are you thinking?
I think that A whole lot of things you can't control, but yeah, what you do next, you can, and it was how do we respond? What do we do next?
Mm-hmm.
And to shut them out, to make sure they know that they're not getting another one easy like that.
Right.
Is what we had came to do and what we did really.
Yeah. I mean, that was a 14-point swing.
Mm-hmm.
Those two things don't happen, and we beat them 40-11. You ever think about that? Because I do. So we talked about the fact that you were defensive MVP, which was just, I don't even know, was that something you ever even dream about?
I just went in the game with the mindset to just dominate.
Right.
And being the MVP wasn't really what I went out and said and be like, oh, I'm gonna try to get MVP. I just wanted the W. I wanted to win, and whatever happens after that, cool. It's cool, but I didn't go in with that mindset.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because you're a team player, obviously. I read a quote by you, and you were talking about college football, and you said you dream about it, being the life of a UGA player, but to actually be living it is surreal.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, you've lived that dream,
Mm-hmm.
and so now the dream kind of continues to the next level, where you're going to go to the league.
Mm-hmm.
And so, walk me through, how you view that change in your life. Big things like with your mom.
I don't know. It's all that is real interesting. It's just I look at things as like a next step in your life, really, and I've just been taking a whole lot of steps in my life.
You're just doing the next thing in front of you.
Just the next thing,
right?
And steps, and and that's the way I really look at it. Of course, I take it day in and day out and be grateful for
Right.
every step, really.
Right.
But I'm just happy that things are going the way they are.
Yeah. And we're happy for you. It's great to see good things happen to good people.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I know that you're just doing the next thing in front of you, you're also a planner.
Yeah.
And so I know it was Kirby that said, you're thinking even about your life, after football, and you're asking him about investments and things like that. Do you have in your mind any kind of, okay, when football's finally done, this is what I'd like to do?
Yeah, I gave it a whole lot of thought, and I actually want to go into broadcasting.
Really?
TV, and be one of those guys. I've taken a whole lot of training, and I did.
You hear that?
Yeah. I did public speaking and all that stuff to work my way to that, and that's really. I got to be realistic with myself. If you're lucky, you get to play 10 plus years. The rare guys like Tom Brady's been playing for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And then what? What after that? I mean, I play football, but I know I am not football.
Right.
If that makes sense. So I got to do something for the rest of 60 plus years that I'm alive, and that's really what I want to do.
It's funny that you say that about that training, because you are so natural in a press conference, and a lot of college kids aren't. And it's like you're just up there directing traffic. Somebody asks you a tough question, you just move, you give an answer and just move on. So I can totally see you in a broadcasting career.
Thank you, man.
Because you're comfortable.
Yeah.
You're absolutely comfortable. All right. I've had, obviously, a lot of people knew I was going to be talking to you, and I've had a lot of people ask me questions. You got to ask Lewis this.
Yeah, of course.
So let's see. Favorite rivalry game and why?
Favorite rivalry game. I would always say it was always with Florida, really.
Yeah.
Like, it's always with Florida. They beat us last year, and then, when they beat us, and then it's like, all right, we gotta show them,
You
what
showed
we
them
got.
this year.
So it's always with Florida.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
What's your favorite stadium, or do you have a favorite stadium besides Sanford Stadium to play in?
Not really.
Not the Benz?
Wait, no, pause. It can't be Ben's.
Why
I like playing away at Tennessee. It's
Kneeling.
like,
You like kneeling?
it's like a Coliseum in a way, and
Yeah.
it's like everything's closed out and everyone's just loud and rowdy.
100,000, real steep.
Dude, I love it.
The Georgia game that you most want to come back and attend next year?
Next year, you said?
Yeah.
I hope we go to the Natty again. And if we do that, expect me to be there.
Okay, I like that, but it's not what I was expecting. I thought that you would say Oregon because of the whole intrigue of Lanning being at Oregon now.
I don't know when that game's gonna be or how that's gonna go out, but it's a little.
It might interfere with your pro schedule.
I don't even know, but I'll be watching that game though.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, who is the funniest player on the team?
JD.
JD.
Yeah, JD's got a great personality.
Is he cutting up and telling jokes?
Oh yeah. Other than JD, one of the younger guys that always kept me laughing was Javon Bullard.
Really?
Yeah. Javon's upcoming younger guy, but he has great potential. He's gonna be one heck of a player. Really.
What position?
He plays the safety position, but
Okay.
they move him around in terms of because he's versatile. Plays safety, star, and a bit of everything.
Corner too?
I've never seen him play corner, but I'm sure he definitely has the skill set to do it.
Where is he from?
Where's Milledgeville?
Milledgeville's right outside of Macon.
Yeah, but that's probably
Okay,
what's happening.
gotcha. Who is the best trash talker on the team, on the field?
Trash talker.
I know who I think it would be.
He doesn't talk trash, but when he makes a play, you're gonna know about it. George.
Really?
You wouldn't expect George to talk trash, but like he's not gonna say anything out of pocket, but he's gonna celebrate, and you're gonna feel some type of way about it though.
Like the clips that went viral of him against Michigan.
Dude, he's always like George's aura, and it's just different.
Yeah.
Like
he's got that it factor.
yeah,
he's got the juice.
That's who he really is.
Yeah. That's exactly.
What do you think I was gonna say?
I thought you were gonna say Pickens. Yeah.
That's who you expected?
That's exactly who I expected. Yeah. All right. For you, who on our team? Well, first we'll say on our team is the toughest for you to tackle.
Kendall.
Kendall.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Kendall is really the harder guy to tackle, in my opinion. In terms of running backs, it's Kendall. When you're tackling Kendall, you gotta come correct. But the other guys in space, Cook in space, he makes it a little hard. He's real shifty, real smooth. But Kendall,
hard to get to the ground.
He refused to go down. It's Kendall.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I think it was his freshman year that one of his first plays, I think he got hit by 6 or 7
And he kept
people,
going.
and he kept going.
That's really Kendall. That's who he is. So he's really the one. When you come in to tackle, you gotta have your mind right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met his dad at the first time game day.
You see how big his dad is?
His dad, I was like, I asked somebody, he walked through the crowd, and I was like, that guy has played in the league, or he was a pro wrestler or something. They're like, nah, that's just Kendall Milton's dad.
Yeah, his muscle got muscle. Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
So, toughest person not on Georgia to tackle that we play?
Not on Georgia?
Not on Georgia.
I don't.
No one. It's not Kyle Pitts.
I don't really have someone in mind, really.
Yeah.
So no, not really, no.
So, is there any one thing that you want the Bulldog Nation to know about you, or any way you'd like to be remembered for your time here at Georgia, your legacy?
I only have to say that the whole time I've been here, Bulldog Nation's been real good to me, real good to us, and they've been through us to highs, lows, and every win, this natty was really for them.
Yeah.
And as well as it was for us, but it was for them for being, great loyal fans.
Well, I appreciate that, because I can tell you it means the world to all of us, old men who have been pulling for you guys since before you were born.
Yeah.
And we just really look forward to now just watching you go to the next level. And I thank you so much for sitting down with us. We're going to eat in a minute, I promise.
No problem.
But you are clearly just, it's like you're an old soul. You don't seem, how old are you?
I 22.
Yeah.
22 now, yeah.
I've got kids older than you, and I think you're more mature than them. But
I had to grow up real early.
yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Well, man, thank you
for
so
having me,
much,
guys.
Lewis.
Thank you, man.
And all the best to you, and thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thank you.
Let's eat.
Yeah.